Hello everyone, welcome to From the Star Wars Home Video Library. I'm your host, Nathan P. Butler, and this time we're looking overseas again for a Star Wars product from the 1990s in this case. Only in this case we're not looking at Europe, we're looking at Japan. Now a while back, actually quite a while back now, we looked at how in the UK they had a much cooler release in 1995 than the United States did. We got the THX Remastered Edition, which is basically just based on the 1993 Definitive Collection Laserdisc Masters, on VHS in full screen, on VHS in widescreen in a shoebox-style box that lifts up, on VHS in widescreen in a box that opens from the side, or on individual Laserdiscs for A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and of course, Return of the Jedi. Now again, you may recall that in 1995, when we got those new Star Wars releases, the only real bonus features to speak of was that little 3-part Leonard Maltin interview with George Lucas, where part 1's on A New Hope, 2's on Empire, and 3's on Jedi. But that was it. That was all the bonus features to speak of. Whereas the UK in 1995 got this bad boy. They got the Executor set, or the Definitive Collection VHS set, with tons of bonus features, behind-the-scenes programs, scripts of the films, lithograph-type things of matte paintings and whatnot, tons and tons of stuff that the US simply didn't get. Ours were relatively bare bone in 95. That would change, of course, in 97, when the special editions came out and we got that limited edition collector set. And the previous VHS release as of 95, which had been in 1992, also had that special letterbox collector's edition. So we'd had some really cool collector's edition, souped-up releases on either side of 95, but not in 1995 itself. Not in the United States. The UK got one, and it turns out so did Japan, in a couple of big ways. Recall that in 1993, the THX remastering was first done for the Definitive Collection Laserdisc set released in the United States, which is this bad boy. Now, this actually hit Japan a year later in 1994. The only real big difference between this in the US and this in 1994, a year later in Japan, really, is the fact that the Japanese copy has an obi, of course, and the Japanese copy has that pack-in book of George Lucas, The Creative Impulse, that's also in the US version, but the Japanese one has a dust jacket, whereas the US release does not. Now, 1 year later in 1995, Japan got another re-release of the Definitive Collection Laserdisc set, except this one had a different style of packaging and had different bonus content beyond what was in that original release. We're going to actually look at that one in the near future. It's a really cool set. I have it on the way to me from eBay. It's relatively rare, so I snatched it up when I saw it. So we'll get a chance to see that soon. But oddly enough, Japan actually had 2 different releases of Star Wars Laserdisc box sets in 1995 that are quite different. The Definitive Collection re-release, but also a so-called Star Wars Trilogy Collector's Set. That collector's set is our focus this time, and that is this. Very pristine looking, nice, very simple cover here. Now, you may have seen this online places with the obi down at the bottom. That's perfectly fine. It actually just kind of can slide up and down if you're not holding it closed, so not a big deal. I put it up at the top because that allows you to still see the titles of the films here. So it just says, Collector Set, Star Wars, the names of the films. Star Wars, because we still hadn't really taken to heavily calling it A New Hope at the time. The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Laserdisc seal in that corner, THX mastering seal in this one. This is a THX remastered set of the films, just like what we saw in 1995 elsewhere in the world. On the back, you have the cover art for the films here. And you'll notice what else is in here. You have Star Wars, aka A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and From Star Wars to Jedi, The Making of a Saga. That was something that hadn't had a Laserdisc release before, and in the US had been a pack-in with the trilogy set, but that was back in 1992 on VHS. It hadn't happened in Japan yet. Down on the bottom, of course, you have your information about the type of disc. These are CLV discs. Stereo, THX, Dolby Surround Sound, digital audio, yada, 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 yada. Some in English, most in Japanese. As for the sides, you have one side that has collector set Star Wars, another side that has it, except they're not oriented the same way, and then the other sides are just pure white. Now, when I take the cover off, you can see how that obi is in here and why it can slide up and down. It's just sort of folded onto here. Very little on the obi is in English. You got CLB, you've got stereo/mono, you've got amount of minutes, 442, an item number and that sort of thing, widescreen, THX logo, but the bulk of this, of course, is in Japanese. Inside, we have the films themselves. They're cool covers here. You see UK releases with this type of art on it as well. So we have A New Hope. Flip over to the back. All of your information about the film is in Japanese until you get to the cast. It says includes new interview with George Lucas. That's the Leonard Maltin interview, of course. And then your cast and crew information and your stats down there on the bottom. You can open this up because it is 2 discs. You have your cool image there of the fight with the lightsabers, along with Japanese information about the film over here, and track listing information over on the other side that we're going to take a look at. As far as the discs themselves are concerned, each film takes up 3 sides of these 2 discs, so there is one side that is nothing each time. And here's your label here. 20th Century Fox, Laserdisc, what disc number it is, Star Wars, etc., etc. Similar to what we've seen before on Japanese Laserdisc releases, but of course a little different for this release. As for the chapters for A New Hope, let's see what they give us, and let's see if there's some decent English this time. We've seen before how this can be kind of a mess. So side 1 of A New Hope gives us beginning of side 1, main title, A New Hope, the Imperial boarding party, Darth Vader confronts the princess, lost in the desert, the Jawas capture R2-D2, droids for sale, Leia's private message, dinner conversation. Leia's private message sounds like she's on Facebook or something. Dinner conversation, Attack of the Sand People, Obi-Wan Kenobi, A Tale of the Past, The Death Star, A Grisly Find, and Mos Eisley Spaceport. Good so far. Side 2, The Cantina, A Wretched Hive of Scum and Villainy, Han Solo, Cornered by Greedo, The Millennium Falcon, Alderaan's Fate, Luke's lightsaber practice. There's no moon, it's a space station. See, there's an error. It's not there's no moon, it's that's no moon, but whatever. Infiltrating the Death Star. Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it, but you wouldn't be able to see it if I put it up here. It's infiltrating the Death Star. And it must be kind of gangsta, because the is spelled T-H-A. Not T-H-E, T-H-A. Infiltrating the Death Star. Bruh. Let's see. To rescue a princess, into the garbage chute, the walls close in, disarming the tractor beam, Obi-Wan meets Vader, and dogfight. Followed by side 3, Han's boast, the rebel strategy, Han prepares to leave, assault on the Death Star, navigating the trench, use the Force, Luke, a hero's welcome, to the victors belong the honors, end credits, and then interview with George Lucas, the Leonard Maltin interview here. That brings us to The Empire Strikes Back. Again, digging the artwork here. Similar back setup. Disc-wise, similar disc label setup here. Right there. And when we open it up, we've got information plus chapter listing and shot there of the AT-ATs or AT-ATs from the Battle of Hoth. And our chapter list goes. Side 1. Beginning of Side 1. Main title, The Empire Strikes Back. Luke on reconnaissance, the rebel base. Escape from the ice creature. The snowman, that's 2 words. Rogue 2's frosted find. It's kind of creative. Luke's recovery, an Imperial probe droid. The Imperial fleet, that's the THE. A call to arms. The first transport, the Imperial Walker attack. Fall of the Walker. The Falcon flees. Luke leaves for Dagobah. The Empire in pursuit. Asteroids. And crash landing on Dagobah. Side 2. Swamp Thing. I love it. I love it. Swamp Thing. You know, there's probably some copyright issues there somewhere. Anyway, Luke meets Yoda. A kiss is just a kiss. I kid you not, that's the name of it. Vader gets the message. Yoda agrees to train Luke. The cave is alive. The way of the Jedi. Braving the tree cave. The Falcon disappears. Using the Force. Apology accepted. Out with the garbage. Looking at the future. Approaching Cloud City. Lando Calrissian and Luke must go. Which either means he needs to head to Cloud City or he needs to step behind the tree and squat for a second. Side 3. Something's wrong in Cloud City. Captive rebels. The carbon freeze chamber. The guinea pig. Okay. Han is sort of a guinea pig for it. Don't think they have guinea pigs in Star Wars, but whatever. Luke shadows the prisoners, face to face. Lando's double cross, lightsaber duel, evacuating Cloud City, the bitter truth, the Falcon to the rescue, the Empire closes in, reunion with the fleet, and end credit. Not end credits, but end credit. So, maybe in this version, it only gives George Lucas credit and says screw you to everybody else, or they probably just didn't make it plural. And then finally, the interview with George Lucas again. That brings us to Return of the Jedi. Again, that great artwork there. Got our back, very similar. The discs similar as well, so we don't necessarily need to look at those yet again. The Laserdisc thumping into the disc there. We've got that classic image there from the beginning of the film. Japanese information on one side, and track listings on the other. The track listing or chapter listing here. Side 1. Beginning of Side 1, main title, Return of the Jedi. I see a pattern here. Vader's unexpected visit. Unusual envoys to Jabba's palace. A message and a gift. And the band played on. Play on words kind of there. The price for Chewbacca. Free from carbonite. Enter Luke Skywalker, the Rancor, Jabba's decree, on the sail barge, the Sarlacc, the Emperor, Yoda's twilight, Obi-Wan's point of view, and outlining the rebel attack. Then Chapter 2, the stolen shuttle, the Emperor's strategy, passing Imperial security, the indoor task force, speeder bikes, 2 words, Leia meets an Ewok, the Emperor's orders, an Ewok trap, a banquet for C-3PO, C-3PO's story, Leia hears the truth, Luke surrenders, a rebel plan of attack, jumping to hyperspace, the back door. Thankfully, we know that means the back door of the shield generator. There's nothing sexual going on here. Yeesh. Luke and the Emperor, which followed by Luke and the Emperor would have been really bad. It's a trap! The Emperor's taunt, that's taunt, T-A-U-N-T, for those who were thinking that was an I and I said it wrong. Ewok counterattack, fully operational, the battle rages, and Luke loses control. There's a lot of innuendo kind of built into that side, too. And then side 3, the Ewoks turn tide. Not the Ewoks turn the tide, but the Ewoks turn tide. Okay. Luke battles Vader, awaiting the shield deactivation, Luke's fury, the shield is down, Luke's death sentence, Vader's redemption, penetrating the Death Star, oh come on with the innuendo here, double entendres and all. The unmasking, the Death Star destroyed, Vader's funeral pyre, celebration, and end credit again, then interview with George Lucas. And I should note that I only caught the end credit being singular thing on Empire and then on Jedi, but that was the case with A New Hope as well. And then we have something completely different stylistically here. The bonus. From Star Wars to Jedi, The Making of a Saga. A cover very much like the 1992 cover of it from the US on VHS. Very similar here. Your information on the back. Information on the back, oddly enough, is all in English. Says, narrated by Mark Hamill. Written and produced by Richard Schickel. Executive producers Howard Kinsanjian and Sidney Gaines. Behind-the-scenes secrets of the most spectacular trilogy in motion picture history. Not so many years ago, in a galaxy very, very near, George Lucas imagined a world no one had ever seen. Now, in this mesmerizing saga behind the saga, journey back to a time when the Star Wars trilogy was little more than one filmmaker's dream. As Mark Hamill narrates, you'll watch dreams become reality right before your eyes. You'll share rare insights into the filmmaking process as you explore the film's deeper meanings with the man who made all things possible, George Lucas himself. Witness the making of the trilogy, including spectacular footage from all 3 films mixed with never-before-seen unfinished scenes. Some of the largest sets ever built for motion pictures. Close to 100 workers labored 4 months, all for roughly 2 minutes screen time. Over 80 different creatures created for Jabba's palace. Relive their birth and evolution from models to monsters in the creature shop of Lucasfilm's Academy Award-winning special effects division, Industrial Light and Magic. Jabba the Hutt, at 2,000 pounds, the biggest, most complex puppet ever built for a movie. The Ewok language, how it was created and what it all means. The original Star Wars animatics. See home videotapes of small-scale models in action, made 1 year before the actual shooting. Miniature special effects photography, created by expert visual magicians for a medium that is literally quicker than the eye. Combined technological effects. See how a real redwood forest was combined with matte paintings, a blue screen, puppets, actors on bikes, and incredible editing to create one of the most breathtaking chase sequences ever filmed. Ta-da! Right? Making of a Saga. We've seen it, hello in TV land is probably my most memorable moment from this special. But it's the same special we saw in the US getting its Japanese Laserdisc release as part of this 1995 set. And in case you're wondering, yes, a similar label there. Though I would note that because of the length of the special, it is only 1 disc, whereas the films had 2 discs each using 3 sides each. This has one disc using both sides. So Japan gets a pair of cool releases in 1995, and this one, as cool as it is to actually have that new artwork, the new box, to have From Star Wars to Jedi, the making of a saga built in, to have the Malton interviews on these THX remastered films, as cool as that is, it still isn't going to necessarily hold a candle to the other release in 95 that we'll be looking at shortly. But it's cool to see, again, how different markets are treated different ways in different years. In 1995, they get two really awesome box sets with extra materials that, spoiler warning, include different documentary-type things about the films, whereas in the UK, they got that awesome Executor set, or the Definitive Collection VHS set, and over here in the US, we got what amounts to almost an absolute bare-bones release with only the Leonard Maltin interviews that are carried everywhere else. In fact, in the US in 95, we didn't even get a Laserdisc box set. We just got those individual Laserdisc releases that I showed you earlier. So, again, different markets, different timing, different extras, but most of the time things that we'll see in all markets eventually. Like, for instance, making of a saga. We'd gotten it here in a box set in 92. We'd seen it on VHS releases previously in the US. Kind of makes sense that at some point it would make its way to Japan on Laserdisc, which was one of their preferred formats of the time. And there it was in 95. With that, we'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with the home video viewers.